Ever read a music review and felt like you needed a translator? Well, today we're going to decode that secret language and figure out what critics are really talking about when they listen to a new song.
You know how it is, right? You get into those heated debates with your friends about a new track. But imagine if that was your actual job. Music critics get paid to have strong, thought-out opinions, and we're about to see exactly how they do it.
So let's get right into it. What exactly is a music critic? Let's break down how someone turns a love for music into a full-time profession. Okay, so think of a music critic as a professional guide. I mean, with thousands of new songs dropping every single week, their job is to listen to a ton of it, evaluate it, and help us figure out what's actually worth our time and money. They're basically navigators in a huge ocean of new music. A critic's job goes way beyond just a thumbs up or thumbs down. They're trying to help us discover new artists, sure, but they also explain the nuts and bolts of why a song works or why it doesn't. They'll put it in context with music history, give an honest take, and they have to stay on top of all the latest trends. It's a big job. So how do they actually pull it off? It's definitely not just about having good taste. Let's dig into the toolkit they use to listen like a total pro. You know, you might think it's just random, but their process is way more structured than you'd expect. It always starts with deep, focused listening. Then they move into a technical analysis, break down the lyrics, and only then do they actually write the review. Let's start decoding some of their language. When a critic mentions production style, they're talking about how the song was actually recorded. Think of the super clean, almost perfect sound of a big pop song. That's what they'd call polished. Now compare that to the energetic, maybe slightly messy sound of a garage band. That's what they mean by raw. They're also listening for all the musical building blocks. You know, is the tempo fast and energetic, or is it slow and emotional? Can you hear every instrument clearly, or is it all kind of a muddy mess? They're also analyzing the singer's performance and those harmonies, the background vocals that can make a track feel so much bigger. And of course, it's not just about the sound. Lyricism is all about the words. A critic is going to look for clever metaphors, great storytelling, and real honest emotion. They're asking, do these words fit the music, and what is this artist really trying to say? Now, this is super important. A critic can't judge every single song by the same checklist. What makes a fantastic hip-hop track is totally different from what makes a killer rock anthem. Yep, every genre is kind of playing by its own set of rules. For a rock song, a critic might be listening for powerful instruments and a feeling of authenticity. For hip-hop, it's all about the rapper's flow and clever rhymes. With pop, they're looking for catchy hooks and if it sounds like a radio hit. And for electronic music, it might be about cool synth sounds and how effective the beat is. A great critic gets all of this. Okay, so after all that listening and analyzing, what's the final product? Well, the review itself can actually take a few different forms. You've definitely seen this before. A lot of publications will boil down a super complex review into a single number, like an 8.5 out of 10. It's a really quick way to get the critic's overall opinion on an album. And when you take the scores from a bunch of different critics and average them out, you get something called a critical consensus. It's just a simple way to see the overall expert opinion. Some people argue a number is too simple, but it does give you a quick snapshot of how a new album is being received. But hey, not all reviews are the same. An album review is all about that perfected, polished sound from the studio. A concert review, that is a whole different beast. It's about capturing the live energy, the stage design, the crowd's reaction. Basically, can the artist pull it off in real time? Okay, but at the end of the day, why does any of this really matter? Why should we even care what music critics think? Well, it turns out their words have a surprisingly big impact. For one, a single glowing review from a really influential critic can totally launch an unknown artist's career. Seriously, that one good review can lead to a record deal and put a new band on the map for millions of people. And in a way, critics kind of act as gatekeepers. By deciding what to cover and what to praise, they play a huge role in shaping which new sounds and which new artists break through to the mainstream and become popular. But maybe the coolest part is what it does for us, the listeners. By giving us the language and the concepts to think about music, like production style or lyricism, they help us understand the music we already love on a way deeper level. So ultimately, this relationship between artists and critics, which can sometimes get a little tense, is a really vital conversation. Like the quote says, that back and forth is a key part of how our whole creative culture grows and evolves. Of course, the internet has completely changed the game. Now, anyone can be a critic on a blog or on social media, right? And some fan reviewers on video platforms are incredibly influential. But professional critics still bring something special to the table, that deep historical context and a sharp technical analysis that only comes from years of experience.
So now it's your turn. After hearing how the pros do it, what new things are you going to listen for in the next song you hear? Will you pay more attention to the instrument balance, the production style, the story and the lyrics? The tools are all yours. Happy listening.